Language learning has become a $50 billion global industry, but research shows 80% of learners never achieve basic conversational fluency. Today, we're exploring why traditional methods are failing millions of aspiring English speakers.
That's such a striking statistic. And what's really interesting is how it connects to the latest neuroscience research about language acquisition. Studies show we might be approaching this all wrong.
Well, you know what fascinates me most? The gap between knowledge and execution. Studies from Cambridge University found that students who scored 90% or higher on written tests often couldn't maintain a basic 5-minute conversation.
Hmm. That reminds me of a recent MIT study where they tracked brain activity during language learning. Want to guess what they discovered about translation versus direct thinking?
Oh, the results were fascinating. The brain actually uses 40% more energy when constantly translating compared to thinking directly in the target language. It's like running two operating systems simultaneously. No wonder people get mentally exhausted.
That's exactly why the immersion approach shows such better results. Studies from the European Commission found that students who learned through pure immersion achieved fluency 3 times faster.
And here's what really blows my mind. Research shows that fear of making mistakes actually changes brain chemistry. When language learners experience anxiety, their cortisol levels spike by up to 35%, literally shutting down the language acquisition centers.
The psychological impact is profound. But let's pause for a moment and think about this. What are 3 main barriers preventing adult learners from achieving fluency? Take a moment.
Well, the data points to perfectionism, isolation from real-world practice, and that constant translation habit. You know, a recent study from Stanford showed that successful language learners make an average of 215 mistakes per hour of conversation. That's actually higher than less successful learners.
That completely challenges conventional wisdom about accuracy versus fluency.
And speaking of challenging conventions, let me share something remarkable about the brain's language centers. When people stop translating and start thinking directly in English, fMRI scans show activation patterns almost identical to native speakers.
The neuroscience is compelling, but what about the cultural dimension? Studies show that understanding cultural context can accelerate learning by up to 60%.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Researchers at Oxford found that learners who engaged with cultural content like movies and music improved their comprehension twice as fast as those who only studied formal materials.
So let's pose another question for our listeners to consider. What 3 daily habits could most improve their language learning? Think about it.
Well, the research suggests immersive listening, speaking without preparation, and, this is key, embracing mistakes as learning opportunities. Studies show learners who adopt these habits achieve functional fluency in about half the time.
That's such valuable practical advice backed by solid data.
You know what else is fascinating? The correlation between confidence and competence. When learners focus on communication over perfection, their error rate actually drops by 23% naturally without conscious effort.
That really demonstrates how our traditional approach might be working against natural language acquisition processes.
Exactly. And as we wrap up, here's something powerful to consider. Multilingual individuals show enhanced cognitive flexibility and problem-solving abilities, with studies showing up to a 40% improvement in creative thinking tasks.
Those benefits really extend far beyond just communication, don't they?
They absolutely do. The research shows that language learning literally reshapes our neural pathways, improving everything from memory to decision-making. It's not just about learning a new language. It's about upgrading our entire cognitive system.
Well, this has been incredibly enlightening. Any final thoughts on what listeners should take away?
Yes. Remember that according to the latest research, it's not perfection that leads to fluency, but rather consistent, fearless practice. The data shows that successful language learners spend 80% of their time using the language and only 20% studying it. So get out there, make those beautiful mistakes, and let your brain do what it's naturally designed to do: connect with others through language.